Hey guys. So this one might get a bit emotional. I've tried to record it multiple times, but none of them have felt right, so I haven't posted them. But this one is going to be a little bit more complicated, maybe less complicated, I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. Something that I haven't really spoken much about because it's hard to process, it's hard to accept. But while I was pregnant with Iris, I had flashbacks of being pregnant previously. And by pregnant previously, I don't mean, 10 years ago before Scott, or in high school. I mean that I gave my birth to my first child when I was in 4th grade. I was in 4th grade when I gave birth to my first child. When I was pregnant with Iris, I got flashbacks. The pregnancy felt familiar, the swelling, just all of it all felt really, really familiar while I was pregnant. And then I started getting a flashback of being on a kitchen floor, dark tiles, and a bunch of women around me, and pretty much coaching me through labor. Breathe, breathe, push, push, breathe, breathe. That whole thing. Shortly after I got into labor, something was wrong. I felt something wrong. I knew something was wrong. And I told them, I said, something is wrong with the baby. I need to go to the hospital. There's something wrong with the baby. It's not going to come out. We need to go to the hospital. No. That's normal. That's normal. That pain is normal during labor. Don't worry about it. It's okay. No, there's something wrong with the baby. I need to go to the hospital. No. It's okay. It's okay. You're fine. You're fine. No, there's something wrong with the baby. I need to go to the hospital. No, just breathe and you've got this. That's exactly what labor feels like. So after being in labor for 3.5 days, I was brought to the hospital and gave birth to a stillbirth baby who had the umbilical cord wrapped around its neck. The baby died around the time that I said something was wrong and that I needed to go to the hospital. I remember screaming at my mother that she doesn't have the right to make any medical decisions for me, that I told her that something was wrong and she didn't listen. Why should I continue listening to their medical direction when I knew more about what was going on in my labor than they did? That was my first child. I had a second one about 2 years later. That one lived. And I remember sitting on the playground at school, on the bench, not allowed to play because I had just given birth. And I remember feeling my breasts getting engorged from the milk. I remember feeling the milk backing up in my arms and everything while I'm sitting on the bench at school. And a baby was taken from me a few weeks later. I don't know where they went. I don't know with whom. I don't know if the child's still alive. If they are, they're about 20 by now. So that's something I've been struggling to process. Even now, So this just shows you how they take us as children, breed us as children, and take our children to do the same thing to them. Now I also want to take a minute to talk about something as well. I started having these flashbacks while I was pregnant. I wasn't sure. I'm never sure when the flashbacks first start. Never. I always want to be certain before I say anything about it. But labor kind of confirmed it. Iris, from the moment, I didn't realize I was even in labor. I thought I had gas or cramps. I didn't know I was in labor until she was crowning. And then I got up, went to the bed. The paramedics who Scott was on the phone with told him to tell me not to push. She's crowning. She's coming now. Whether I push or not, she's coming. All right, push. I pushed. Her head came right out. Push again. I didn't even have a chance to take a breath before the rest of her body came out. The same breath that her head came out is the same breath her body came out, and I'm not exaggerating. She came out alarmingly quick for her first child. The labor, alarmingly easy for her first child. Scott and I are pretty convinced that I've had at least 2 children previously, but he thinks it may have been more. I don't know, I only remember 2, but he's right, it might have been more. So, they specifically take us and breed us to do this. Now, this is also something I haven't spoken about here, but I want you to know the lengths and the extent that these people go to take children. As you guys know, there's a CPS case open because CPS decided to take Iris. They opened a substance-exposed newborn case, claiming that I tested positive for drugs. I want you guys to see something. They claimed that I tested positive for marijuana. I want to show you something. This is my blood results and my urine results from Howard County General Hospital, where I went after I gave birth. For the record, I'm going to boast a little bit because I'm kind of proud of this, so give me that, please. Sorry, not sorry. As you can see here, at the top, my blood test results. At the bottom are the drug test results. And for a brief moment, I'm going to brag because I think those are really good numbers for somebody who just gave birth a few hours earlier for the blood test results. I don't really know, I don't have anything to compare to, but I'm kind of proud of that one. Over here on the bottom, you can see, hold on. Sorry. So down here on the bottom, you can see where the drug test is. Down here are the results. I'll read it off to you because I don't know how well you can see it or how clear it's coming in. So mind you, CPS said that I tested positive for marijuana. We have codeine, morphine, hydrocodone, hydromorphone, and oxycodone. Value, negative. Let me go this way. Codone, negative. Morphine, negative. Hydrocodone, negative. Hydromorphone, negative. Oxycodone, negative. Interestingly, the drug that they said that I tested positive for, I wasn't even tested for. I wasn't even tested for marijuana. And they opened a substance-exposed newborn case. I didn't test positive for anything. And Baltimore County Child Protective Services opened a fraudulent substance-exposed newborn case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury of We the People, if you have at any point at all been given any problem at all by CPS for substance abuse, demand those results, whether you think you tested positive or not. Because to be honest, if I was tested for marijuana, I probably would have shown up positive. I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure. But I might have. I could have. There is a possibility. But I wasn't tested for marijuana. And I did not come up positive for anything. And yet CPS still opened a substance-exposed newborn case. And in doing so, every single time we saw a new doctor, CPS spoke with them first. None of those doctors could be bothered to check Iris for the #1 cause of slow weight gain in breastfed babies. But all of them were more concerned with talking to CPS. Do you know how you evaluate somebody for tongue and lip tie? I'll show you right now. Ta-da! Ta-da! That's how you check. You lift up the lip and lift up the tongue. This is what it is. That little piece of skin there, that is what is considered a tongue tie. If that extra piece of skin is too big, it can limit the baby's ability to eat properly. So Iris was taken because 3 doctors couldn't lift up her lip and look for an extra piece of skin. They were more concerned with working with CPS, who fraudulently opened a substance-exposed newborn case, than actually finding out why Iris wasn't gaining weight. So let me go over this again for you guys. When I was a child, I had at least 2 children, one of whom was a stillborn, one of whom was taken away. And then I have another child as an adult, with a man who I have been with for 10 years. The only child between the 2 of us, in a house that he owns. The mortgage is his. This is his house. He has lived here his entire life. And they took Iris after fraudulently opening a substance-exposed newborn case. Well, guys, here's what I have to say to you, and at the end of the day with all of this. 2 things mainly. 1, they breed us for these reasons. They breed us to have children and to give them children, so that way they can fuck and rape and kill and torture our children. And then, when they can't get to you a normal way, they get to you in a fraudulent way. If you have a case with CPS involved any sort of substance abuse, get those records pulled. Pull all of your medical records, pull all of your children's medical records, and do not accept anything without the full genetic information. When you receive your medical records, they should look similar to this. They should have the name of the hospital on the front, and at the bottom here you can see where it says page 40. The pages should be numbered. Some of them have it where it says page, some of them have it where they say page 1 of 150, 2 of 150, 3 of 150, but all of them should be numbered. Do not allow anybody to give you anything that does not look like a proper file. I have had CPS give me an altered copy of Iris's medical records where a lot of the notes from the doctors had, I don't know, I can't really explain it here. I can show you guys another time if you would like. I can show you how they alter these notes and alter these records. I know how they do it. If you want me to get into how I know, I will some other time, not right now. But you guys need to get your medical records, and make sure when you get your medical records you have the genetic information. You need the genetic information. Your genetic information is huge. It is huge. A lot of the information that is being hidden from us is genetically related because of everything that's being put in our air, our food, our medications, everything around us. You need to get your genetic information. That is first and foremost the most important. Do not allow them to be withheld. Do not allow anything to be withheld. They might try. Don't let them. If you have a lawyer, have your lawyer subpoena it. If you are going through any sort of court case, court situation right now, especially CPS related, Your Honor, considering this is a CPS case and CPS is making these claims of neglect or abuse or whatever their whatever their claims are, I'm not going to say fraudulent because they might not be fraudulent in some cases, but that's neither here nor there. Your Honor, CPS is making these claims. I would like you to court order a release of my child's full unaltered medical records to my care, to my hands, so that I may review it myself. Do not count on your lawyer to do it. I'm sure some of you guys are good. Some of you are great lawyers, fantastic. I'm just telling you right now that you may not get everything if you do it yourself. They might try and pull some shady alteration shit. So if you have a lawyer or somebody who is competent enough to get it and that you can trust to get it and give it to you, do that. But you need to review it yourself. A big reason why we the people have fallen into this type of pit that we have with the corruption that we have in our government is because we don't do things ourselves. Because we are more interested in hiring the attorney or paying the doctor or, trusting the professionals. They have a degree. They know what they're doing. Clearly not. You guys have seen Iris's blood results. If you want, I'll show it to you again, just to drive the point home. Because apparently some people don't seem to understand that. Once again, I'll show you again. CPS fraudulently opened a substance-exposed newborn case. Negative for everything I was tested for. And then my daughter went from this in my care to this in CPS's care. And for some reason they think that's okay. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm pretty sure the rest of you agree with me when I say that's not okay. In any shape or form whatsoever. There is no excuse for it. At all. So, that being said, guys, enough is enough. It's time to stand up. It's time to demand records, documentation, accountability. It's time to make sure that these people end up in prison and with nothing for the rest of their lives. Enough is enough. It's time to rise up. The fact that the DOJ, the FBI, and the Dems are trying to hide the FISA information, which, by the way, I'll go off on a little tangent. I have a theory, and I think you guys should know. I have a theory that CPS has been exploiting the FISA courts. Yes. For those of you who don't know, please look into the FISA courts because you guys really should know. You need to know. My theory is that CPS has been exploiting the FISA courts to spy on people they're targeting. That's my theory. And I think the reason why the DOJ, FBI, and Democrats, part of the reason anyway, don't want that information unsealed and declassified is because it will expose the lengths that they have gone to take children. Why I think they're fighting so hard to keep it classified. It's not just about Carter Page. It's not just about Hillary. If it was just about Hillary, she would have been thrown under the bus years ago. It's not. She's too intertwined in it. When she goes down, everything else goes down with her. So guys, you need to demand your records, you need to demand everything. And when you go to court, when you go to court, associated with anything with CPS, not only should you ask the judge to give you a court order release of your medical reports, your medical records, demand any and all police records that may or may not be related to CPS. Demand CPS's documentation. How can you reasonably go to court and prove your innocence when when the other side, the plaintiff, is not giving you all the evidence, is not giving you all the information? That means the court is withholding evidence in a case in regards to a child, potentially a criminal case. Because if you are saying that a child is being neglected or abused, to a degree that could be criminal depending the extent. So when you go to court, you guys need to demand everything. Police records, medical records, CPS records. Get it. All of it. And when you go to court, demand the court records. Transcripts. Everything. All of it. You may not like having to do all that paperwork, but that's going to keep you safe. That's going to keep your family safe, because nobody's going to want to fuck with somebody who's documenting everything. They don't. So guys, I'm going to drop a little seed for a theory I have. These FISA courts have been exploited by CPS to target us. And I have a feeling that we're going to find out that some pretty high-ranking people, either locally or federally, will be named on those warrants from the FISA courts. So guys, be ready. Be prepared. Because when this shit hits the fan, it's going all over the place. A lot of people are going to jail. A lot of people are going to lose everything. And to be perfectly honest, I don't want them to die. No, I don't. They shouldn't. But I do think they should live the rest of their lives with nothing. I think we should go the Futurama route. Which is, keep them alive with their head in a jar. Forever. They will never be able to move. They'll never be able to properly breathe. They will never be able to feel pleasure again. And for amusement, if you want, feed them fish flakes or whatever the hell you want, I don't care. But if they're in that jar, that food is going to slowly decay away in their neck. And that's not going to be pleasant for them. And I'm not normally somebody who gets pleasure off of other people's pain. I don't. There are some people who deserve it. And there are very few people who I would take pleasure from in watching them suffer. I'm sure you guys can guess who those people would be. Anyway, this one went on long enough. Be ready. Be prepared. Demand everything. Do not allow anybody to hold anything from you. Do not allow anybody to hold anything from you. You have the right to know. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thanks again. Stand tall. Stand strong. Be prepared. Don't give up. Don't ever stop fighting. For you, for your family, for your neighbor, for your future, and for this planet. Don't ever stop fighting. Because once you stop fighting, is when the corrupt people come in, take things over, and start going after your children. If CPS opened a fraudulent substance exposed newborn case for me, they could do it to any other one of you. For all you know, if you have a child on the way, or if you're planning on having another child, for all you know, CPS is going to be going after you next. You need to be ready. You need to be prepared. And you need to document everything. It will keep you safe. All right, guys. I'll let you go. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekends, and stay safe. Where we go on, we go well. Blessed be.